Of course, Mary Michele on the other side of the glass, taking your calls on astrology at 241-1310. I missed you last week.
I missed you too, Mike.
I had an hour of sitting here looking at a blank screen. Actually, where were you so people know?
I was on this wonderful trip to Colorado where the four corners come together. Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And it's a very sacred place. It's called Crestone. And it has 21 of the world's religions represented there. It's quite amazing. It's kind of like a little mini UN of religions, and the fact they can all get along, I think, is great.
All right, we're going to talk about that a little bit longer. 241-1310, the number to call. Mary Michele, we're going to cut you off right now because we have Rose on the phone from Putnam Valley. Is this okay?
Yes.
All right, Rose, good morning to you. Your date of birth is June 21st, 1964.
That's correct.
Good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Hi, Mary Michele. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I wanted to know, am I going to get that job, that long-awaited job that I've been waiting for soon?
Okay. You were born the last day of Gemini. Have you ever had your chart done?
A long time ago.
Long time ago, but you were given the sun in Gemini.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you have the sun in Gemini, the moon in Scorpio, Mercury in Gemini, Venus in Gemini. Is it imminent? Is it imminent that this job is something that you're going to get?
I don't know.
Is it something that you hope to get within the next week or two?
Yes.
Okay, I would say the odds are pretty good. Let me just look for a second on the regular, what's going on this month. But I would say the odds are pretty good by the end of the week.
Really?
Mm-hmm. If you're going to get it, it would be probably you would hear something within the next couple of days. The thing is that it's very possible it may happen too, but later. If it doesn't happen within the next couple of days, could you hold off for 3 weeks or so?
Sure.
It might happen towards the end of September.
Uh-huh.
Or it could happen right away. But there is kind of a blip in there between the 1st to the 22nd where things are going to be a little difficult. You have a lot of planets in Gemini. Your ability to do two things at once is pretty strong. Are you someone that, do you have more than one job that you're interested in doing?
I do 2 jobs right now.
Right. Well, the odds are you'll probably continue to do that. Does that bother you? Do you feel uncomfortable with it?
No, not at all.
No. I think you'll continue to do, more than one thing at a time. It's not just the sun. You have Mercury, and I think it's Venus, Mars, a lot of planets in Gemini. With the moon in Scorpio, whatever difficulties had been around your daily habitual routines that have been going on for quite some time shifted in November. So if you were having a feeling that too many jobs was a difficult thing for you, it changed in the end of November of last fall. Mm-hmm. So, now is a time that you're going to be restructuring with the moon in Scorpio. You're a very good analyst. You're someone that's good at getting to you're a detective, kind of a psychic detective. Mm-hmm. So if you need to get to the bottom of things, I'm sure that you're able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
I also wanted to know when I'd be getting engaged.
Is there someone on the horizon?
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, this Venus, Mars, and Gemini, right now is a good time for the romantic. Venus is romantic. It's also, having to do with money and self-worth. Right now with the sun in Leo is a very, very good time for this, Venus, Mars, and Gemini. During the month of September, you might try to overanalyze things a little bit too much. When the sun's in Virgo, you're going to be at odds. So I would try to trust whatever it is that you're feeling about this person. You want to carry this sense of trust through the month of September and not put too much pressure on him.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling, Rose. We're coming up now, 241-1310. I have Lori on the line watching. Lori, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Okay. Lori is calling from Somers, watching on cable channel 12. Her date of birth is January 20th, 1964. You're on with Mary Michele.
Hi, Mary Michele. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I guess in general, I just wanted to know, I've been a little stressed out recently anxiety feeling, I guess. How things looked down the road.
Okay. You have the sun in Capricorn, as you know. You have the moon in Aries. This is a hard angle, and the moon is getting a double hit right now because the planet Saturn is going over your moon. So certainly in the area of your feminine side, or perhaps your mother or women in your life, they might be demanding some kind of commitment, responsibility, structure from you that is not exactly, you're not completely comfortable with. So this might be something that's throwing you off, or it might be an internal thing. It's not necessarily about but it's the feminine part of yourself.
Right.
Is it more about your relationships that are throwing you off?
Yeah, I think, yeah, possibly.
Possibly. Because certainly, within your work, it's a very good time for you and has been since January with the Sun in Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn. Oh, Venus in Pisces, that's very nice. Venus is exalted in Pisces. But, that had been hit up until April. There had been a little bit of a difficulty with the Venusian side of you, the lover within you. But that shifted in April. But it's really around this feminine side of yourself that the issues are the most glaring. Also, Jupiter in Aries, so, your feelings of expansion might feel. Jupiter is where we spiritually grow. It's where we, higher learning and that kind of thing. And right now, you might feel like it's a little more difficult to grasp. If you're normally someone that's interested in learning new things, it might be a little hard right now to put the initiative, the sense of new beginnings together with trying to structure them.
Right, absolutely.
So, just give yourself some time with it. Don't rush yourself, Capricorn tends to be a little hard. You tend to be a little hard on yourself.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You want to relax with that.
Yeah, I find that's probably a problem.
Yeah.
But basically, everything will kind of just calm down within me.
Yeah. But you have to work on it. In other words, you have to work on feeling that you are a very responsible person and not trying to pressure yourself to be more responsible.
Right.
You're plenty responsible.
Right.
And I think, whatever your relationships are in life with your family or, the women, as I say, the women in your life, or they will all work themselves out as long as you start to trust that.
Great.
It's about that internal trust.
Great.
Okay?
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for calling.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Sounds like a happy lady when you talk to her there.
Oh.
We're talking to Mary Michele at 241-1310. Hopefully, Allie, are you still there?
Yes.
Allie is calling. Allie is calling from Yorktown, watching on cable channel 12. I hope you like the month, Mary Michele, of April, the year 1962, and the 7th day.
The 7th day, 4/7/62.
You got it.
Okay.
Allie, good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Hi.
Good morning, Allie.
Good morning. I have a question. We're a new family. We have 2 kids, and I've been working with this company for a long time, and I'm just finishing up my maternity leave. I'll have to go back shortly, and I really am at a crossroad. I'm not sure with the cost of daycare. It's been such an important career to me. It's very creative. I enjoy it, but at the same time, having 2 kids now, it's finding it difficult, and I'm really having a hard time deciding if I'm going to leave, if there'll be more work in the future, in the evenings type of thing. Our whole family seems to be in this big crossroad. My husband's job's important, mine's important to me, but so's the family, and it's expensive to put kids into daycare, and I don't necessarily want to put our second one into daycare, because she's so young. And we're really just having a hard time. We were just discussing it last night.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some sunshine on the other side somewhere.
There's what?
Some sunshine on the other side saying that things will
Yeah. Okay, well, you have the sun in Aries and the moon in Gemini. It's a nice angle. The moon is the feminine part of yourself, you know, the way that you deal with children and all of that. The moon in Gemini, Gemini is the sign of duality, of course. So, you know, with the moon in Gemini, you are able to handle more than one child, you know, at a time. For some people, that's not an easy feat, but you have that. You also have a lot of duality in your energy. Mars is in Pisces. Mars is our energy and how we get up and going every day, and Pisces is another dualistic sign. And it's also the sign of compassion and wanting to be with people and be with the people that you love. Mars and Jupiter both in Pisces. You know, it would seem to me that it's a little more important for you right now to spend the time with the family. You know, I understand that, you know, your work is very important to you, but I think you're going to get more satisfaction with this Mars-Jupiter in Pisces by learning from your children than learning from your job right now.
Yeah.
You have Venus in Taurus, so in terms of money, certainly through the end of the year, Venus is how we make money and how money comes to us and so on. And with Venus in Taurus, you are someone that likes to make your own money. And as a rule, you've probably been pretty good at it. But I think the thing is that you have to trust that it's going to come without you necessarily having to go out and make it yourself. I don't think that there's a big problem with money with you right at the moment. So, you know, my sense would be, you know, it might be a little difficult at first with the Sun and Mercury in Aries to structure your life around being at home with the children. There might be a little bit of fear attached, not going out into the world and feeling like you're leaving something out, you know, that you're not as exposed to the outside world as you normally like to be. And Aries is someone that definitely likes to go out and take challenges on and so on. But I think it is a good time to stay within that slightly more private space of being within the family.
Yeah. All right. There's there's a new child. She's only about 3 months old now, and unfortunately, I'll have to go back, probably because of disability reasons and such, you know, to go back and do a certain amount of time, you know, so I don't have to pay back my disability and that, stuff like that. I'm not really sure how that works, but I just fear for the child. How do they suffer? Like, she's born 6/22/96. Now, will that affect her in a way?
I really don't feel that it's about
temporarily.
Well, you know, of course the child would rather have the mother around, but I think that it's your attitude really that's going to color this more than anything. And as I say, there's a harmonious angle between the sun and the moon in your chart. So your ability to create a harmonious aspect for this child is pretty strong.
Okay.
What did you say her birthday was again?
6/22.
6/22. Okay, she's born the first day of Cancer. She has the moon in Virgo. It's nice. That's a harmonious angle. The sun in Cancer, the moon in Virgo. So again, she is somebody she's going to feel pretty easy about having you as a mother. You know, the mother image is going to be strong. But as I say, you might think as much, the tendency should be, I think, a little more to the idea of being at home with the children for the next 2 years, if possible.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you for calling. Nice lady.
Very nice.
Now, can we get back to something that you were doing so we understand where you were last week? You were out at the Four Corners, where 4 states of the lower 48, as they say, come together. And there were how many religions represented there? 21?
21 of the world religions.
What is it? Do they call this Ecumenical Central or what? I don't know. Tell me what it is.
All right. Well, the place is called Crestone, or the town is Crestone, Colorado. The actual area is called the Baca. And what it is that it's a rather large piece of land that was acquired by this fellow called Maurice Strong, who was the head of the Environmental Conference in Brazil. And his wife, Hannah Strong, is really the one that, did a tremendous amount of work in trying to bring all of these traditions together. And what they did was that as long as the tradition was something that was, traditional, it couldn't be sort of a new age, sort of completely new ideas. It had to have some history behind it. They would give them a piece of land, and then they would build their own sacred temple or their own sacred space. So I think one of the first people to go there were the Carmelites. So there are Carmelites, there's Hindu, there's Tibetan Buddhists, there's Zen Buddhists. I'm trying to think of all the... Well, anyways, you can imagine there are 21 of all of these different kinds of traditions. And, in as much as this Maurice Strong was at the UN, I think the idea with both he and his wife, Hannah, is they understand that the nature of the UN lots of times has to begin with spirit. It's not just about, political, economic things. One has to realize that the nature of the internal world has to try to get along before we can get on to the next level of the material world.
All right. We got that. We're going to be talking to John just about a half minute away. If you have a question for Mary Michele, 241-1310, the number to call. John, we're going to get to you in exactly 30 seconds. Local certified financial planning professional Bob Reeby presents Money Sense every Wednesday and Saturday morning from 9 to 10. Bob will give you ideas that may help you plan for retirement or protect your assets and income. That's Money Sense with Bob Reeby every Wednesday and Saturday morning from 9 to 10 here on WVIP Radio and Cable Channel 12. Securities are offered through Linsco Private Ledger, member NASD, SIPC. And again, if you have a call for Mary Michele, 241-1310, the number to call, just as John has. John's calling from Chappaqua. Date of birth is December 4th, 1939. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Mary Michele.
Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm well. This is a fascinating program. I'm very interested in the subject that you've been covering this morning.
Thank you.
And it prompted me to call because I'm about to take a trip to Mexico, and I wanted to find out if there was anything that I should be especially mindful of.
Okay, great. Okay, the sun in Sagittarius, the moon, 12-4. The moon in Virgo. Mercury in Scorpio. Certainly this year, Venus in Capricorn, you have been, money has not been a big issue for you this year. Have you been doing well financially?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that should give you some peace of mind, certainly when you're traveling, to know that perhaps the business won't collapse or whatever that fear one might have when you go away. It'll be there when you come back, is the point. Mars in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces. Okay, if there is some kind of, as I was talking about, if there is some kind of quest that you're going on a little bit, if there is something that you're looking for internally, kind of a spiritual thing or something that you would like to intrinsically understand a little better. With Mars and Jupiter in Pisces, it's about this time is really about looking for some higher understanding or belief system. So if you can incorporate that in the trip in some way, I think that's going to help you to enjoy it a little more. Is there a particular thrust to it, or is it just a basic vacation? Or?
No, it's basically a vacation for pleasure, but part of the time that we're there, we are going to fly over to the mainland and visit some of the Aztec ruins and things of that nature.
I think that will be the particularly exciting bit. That really sounds wonderful.
Well, we're looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. And, as I say, everything should be copacetic when you come back.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
John,
for calling,
just so you
John.
know, if you're going over towards Tulin, the relics there, you're going to have a great time. Anywhere along the Cozumel, Cancun area, there's a whole band of them right along the, I guess it's the Caribbean there. Absolutely out of this world.
Where did you, we're going to Cozumel. So
Okay.
Where are you talking about specifically?
There is you can take this tour. It's about 2 hours from Cozumel.
I think that
You
must
go
be
down to Tulin, I think, is the name of the ruin. The one thing I'm going to advise you about, if you're going to buy any Mexican serapes, wait till you leave the property because it gets cheaper as the people come in. But we were down there in December, and I will tell you, as you take the guided tour, you are going to learn things as to how the Aztecs were there, how many thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago. And at the high altar there, Mary Michele, have you ever been there?
No.
Okay. There is one window where they were able to determine the time of the day and the month of the year and the whole thing by the way the sun came through. And it is just fascinating. You'll enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Hey, have a good trip.
I'm very glad I called.
I wish I was
John.
going also, but that's okay.
Me too.
Yeah, that's the way it is. All righty. We're talking to Mary Michele, 241-1310, the number to call. I believe we have CS. Why don't we get if you'll just hand this to me, we'll be all set on line one. Line one is Kay. She's calling for her granddaughter, I guess, because her granddaughter was just born. Congratulations, Kay.
Thank you.
Your granddaughter was born August 5th, 1996. You're calling from White Plains. Good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
And this is the first Leo ever in my family, and I want to know what to expect.
Okay. 8/5/96. Okay. That's very exciting, a new child in the family. Okay, this child was born with the 5th. The sun in Leo, the moon in Taurus. The moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus, although there is a hard angle between Leo and Taurus. But in terms of this child getting what it needs, it will always have that solid sense of being able to do that. The moon in Taurus is exalted. Its habitual daily routines will be very regimented. There is a little bit of fixity. This child will want structure. With the sun in Leo and the moon in Taurus, they're both fixed signs. But, the sun in Leo, as a rule, is a wonderful, fun-loving kind of child. It's just that, there might be a little bit of a lack of flexibility from time to time. So that should be encouraged. With Mercury in Virgo, Mercury is exalted there. The child is going to be extremely bright and will pick up things very quickly. Mercury, the planet Mercury is, when you think of the word mercurial, this person knows how to grasp information easily and quickly and probably will love studying. Venus in Gemini, also very mercurial. Not quite as good as Mercury in Virgo. Venus in Gemini is about, like the person might want to have many different experiences, which helps tremendously with the sun in Leo, though. It allows this child to have a little more flexibility. Mars in Cancer, Jupiter in Capricorn, Saturn in Aries. This child is going to need a lot of structure and will want a lot of structure. It's a very important thing for it, but it should be a very fun-loving little bundle. Has it already proved to be that?
Yes.
Is it a happy baby?
It's a very happy baby.
Yeah. I think it sounds, this child will be very balanced, which is a nice thing. There are a lot of different components with the mutability. There's also some cardinal if the child wants to, have a leadership position in its place in the world. Is it a male child or
Female?
Female. Either way, the child is going to have, a pretty balanced life, which I think is the best thing that we can ask for.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for
Okay,
calling.
thank you for calling. Congratulations, Kay, on the birth of your granddaughter. Can I play travel agent for a second for
Sure.
John, if he's still listening? The other thing you have to remember about the Cozumel area, what I think, and this would be something that I'm quite sure that the Aztecs, when years and years ago they were sitting there watching these things, take a look at the destruction that the last hurricane did and where it was placed, because there were some spots, obviously, like anywhere else, that didn't get touched, and the ruins was a place that did not get touched. Or if they did, it's right on the coast there, so it would have been something to see. But you're going to have a great time down there. Mary Michele, we're going to be back to you just about a minute away. We'll get to Felicia and to Rita here at WVIP. If you've got a question for Mary Michele, 241-1310, the number to call. Felicia, you get on in 1 minute.
Once in a lifetime, you find a love that can last for all time. A love that grabs hold of you Broadway Theater. Call Telecharge 212-239-6200.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Mary Michele is here taking your calls on astrology, 241-1310. Felicia is on the line calling from Katona. Her date of birth is February 16th, 1941. Felicia, good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning.
Good morning, Felicia. Did you have a particular question?
Yes. I have had a lot of trouble this spring and this year with health, and I wanted to know if things would make a change, and also it seems to be a transition at work, and I wanted to know how things were going to go there.
Okay. The sun in Aquarius, the moon in Scorpio, Mercury in Pisces, Venus in Aquarius. That's very nice. You know, Sun-Venus conjunction. It makes for a very attractive personality, physical person, unusual. You know, there must be something a little bit unusual about the way you look. Let's see. Mars in Sagittarius, Jupiter in Taurus, Saturn in Taurus. The physical problems that you're experiencing, are they having to do with your legs?
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah. You know, I think that gentleness, you know, you have to learn how to treat yourself gently. With the sun in Aquarius and Venus in Aquarius, and, you know, there's a little bit of a tendency to be quick movements. The movements are a little too quick. You know, you want to develop a little more rhythm. You know, things like yoga or Tai Chi, or just very regular walking, very rhythmical. Slow yourself down a bit. Are you someone that likes to move fast?
I tend to move fast when I do, yes.
Yeah. So the idea is, I think, if you can redirect that energy a little bit to move with a little more surety and slowness and rhythm to it. You know, try to count the breaths as you walk, kind of thing. One
Yes.
watermelon, two watermelon, you know, that kind of thing. The moon in Scorpio, you know, it hadn't been a particularly easy time for you with Pluto going through Scorpio for quite a long time with the feminine part of yourself, but that has gone past now, so you should be able to, you know, work better with your own internal femininity. It probably really became very clear to you in January. There was a big shift in January with the planet Uranus going into the sign of Aquarius, so you must be feeling really like new beginnings, and perhaps your body just isn't keeping up.
That's right.
Yeah. As I say, if you can get into this idea of just allowing your body to move a little slower, I think it will keep up with your essence or your brain or whatever it is that you would like to have it keep up with. You want to kind of try to bring the two into a harmony of sorts. It's interesting, you know, this course that I was on in Colorado, it was something called sacred geometry or symbolic geometry. And one of the images that the fellow gave us when we were trying to do these very complicated things with, you know, circles and trines and squares, and, you know, it's all very complicated with numbers and compasses and rulers and so on, was he said that you have to think about the concept of it starts in the head. No, it starts with your hands. It goes to your head, and then it goes to your heart. So the idea is with your hands, or with the body, the hands represent the body. If you can come to a place of peace within that, you will blend those three levels of the hands, the head, and the heart. And certainly with, you know, the Sun Venus in Aquarius, you should be interested in new things right now. Is there like are you looking to study something, or?
Yes, I am.
You know, is it something that you have the energy for?
I think so, yes.
I think you'll be able to do it. You just, as I say, you want to do it gradually. Go into it gradually. I don't think that there's any problem with you being able to complete whatever you start. And I think it's just about giving yourself a little time.
Okay.
Okay?
I thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you for calling, Felicia. Are you ready to educate Rita? I hope you are. Good movie. Michael Caine was in it, as I recall. Rita Tushingham, I don't remember who was in it, but I remember the educating
That
Rita.
was very good.
I know. I've thought about this for 4 weeks now. Rita's date of birth is June 27th, 1961. Rita, you're looking ravishing on cable channel 12 this morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good, Rita. How are you?
Good. Basically, I was wondering the past last year, both financially and with work, it's been an up and down roller coaster. And I was just wondering if somewhere along the line it's going to even out.
Okay, the sun in Cancer, Sagittarius, let's see. You were born the 27th, right? Okay, the sun in Cancer, the moon in Capricorn. You were born at the full moon. People that are born at the full moon tend to, for most of their lives, have this feeling of polarity or extremes. If you think about it, the full moon is when things come to a head. So, you know, in a way, this can be disconcerting because it's like your life, you feel a little bit is always being led on the edge. On the other hand, the positive side of this is that you are someone that is always willing to embrace, new ideas. You can go out and kind of greet the world in a very all-encompassing kind of way, which of course the sign of Cancer wants to do. Cancer is someone that wants to mother the world and wants to take care of people and so on. The moon in Capricorn, certainly with money. What was your particular question?
Oh, financially and with work, we've had ups and downs.
Well, this year, was there not a shift in January? Was money not a little more forthcoming in January?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. I think throughout the rest of the year, you're going to be able to, the money should be coming. It's just that with this full moon thing that you have, with your feeling is that it's always an extreme. There's something very extreme about it, and it's like you're internally trying to have it be a little more moderate. Mercury in Cancer, Venus in Taurus, again, that's very good about money this year. Mars in Leo. Do you work with children?
No, I don't.
Have you ever thought about that, or
No.
is there something theatrical about you?
No.
No? Okay, well, you have Mars, Uranus, and Leo, so there's something, kind of fun-loving. Do you ever organize dinners or parties or things like that?
Not really.
No? Well, you have the ability to with this Mars, Uranus, and Leo. There is a sense of fun about you. And I think, that could be perhaps the more lighthearted. You want to try to do things that are a little unusual. With Jupiter and Aquarius, you're somebody that your ability to think of things, new ideas in a very unusual way is good. And you're able to show people new ways of thinking about things. And I think you have to do a little bit more of that.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you for calling. Let us continue to give the phone number here, 241-1310. To Susan and Marie, we will get to you in 1 minute. We're talking to Mary Michele, 241-1310, the number to call. You don't have to cry. It's okay. I heard you sniffling. It's what happens. You come back east after being out in the cool mountain air, and you see what happens. We'll be back with Mary Michele in exactly 1 minute. For the best fuel oil burner service and burner installation in the upper Westchester County area, give Marshall Oil Company a call at 764-5766. They offer fast, dependable deliveries, automatic fill service, 24-hour emergency equipment service, and convenient budget plans. They also stock a large inventory of replacement parts. So if you have a service need, it will be answered promptly and courteously. They also pledge to keep their prices at the lowest possible level. Marshall Oil Company has been providing quality service for the county for over 56 years and will continue to do so in the future. So it's easy to understand why so many residents and businesses in Westchester County have become such loyal customers. So for fast, dependable, and reliable service and the lowest possible prices, give Marshall Oil Company a call, 764-5766. Marshall Oil Company, striving to keep you and your family comfortable all year round. All right, let's get right back to the phones with Mary Michele at 241-1310. On the line is Susan from Mount Kisco. Good morning. Date of birth, 1/30/39.
Good morning, Mike, and good morning, Mary Michele. Mike, first of all, did you know also in Ireland there's a place called Newgrange which can which the ancients also could tell the time by how the sun came through the cracks in these ancient rocks, like in Stonehenge in England.
I love this lady. She's been listening carefully. I did not, but now I do. Thank you for that information. You're on with Mary Michele now, Susan.
Good morning, Mary Michele.
Good morning, Susan.
I don't have a particular question, just wondering what is in my future.
Okay. The sun in Aquarius, the moon in Gemini, this is a very nice, harmonious angle. Both the sun and the moon in air signs, so you're able to grasp ideas, new ideas, or old ideas that you make new easily. You're a good student. You're someone that likes to study and learn about things. Are you studying something at the moment?
Not really, but I do like to, read and keep up with things, yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you travel much?
I just got back from Paris.
You did? Oh, how wonderful. Was it?
And what are the styles they are showing this year, Susan?
I was on a tour for 12 days of Portugal, Spain, and France.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes, it was.
That's really
hectic, but wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Portugal and Spain. You know, it's interesting about Spain and in terms of higher learning. In the 11th, 12th century was when they had the greatest thinkers were all congregated in Cordoba in Spain.
Really?
To the southern part of Spain.
Yeah.
And again, it was kind of like what I was talking about this morning, where it was kind of a sacred place where they brought the three known religions of the time, Christianity, Judaism, and Muslim, all together, and they were working together. You know, it was a time when there was this community of spirit in Cordoba,
yeah.
Which, of course, the sun in Aquarius is someone that can understand this community of spirit. You're someone that works well with other people, and you're always encouraging people to go a little bit beyond whatever their limitations might be. So in terms of not only studying but teaching, you're someone that would be quite a good teacher. Have you ever done anything like that?
No.
Let's see, you have Mars in Sagittarius. Again, this is about higher learning. Jupiter in Pisces, expansion in a very spiritual kind of way. You're someone that understands the nature of spirit, and probably there's not too much judgment about other people's beliefs, allowing their beliefs to work for them, and you have yours. Is there anything particular that you would like me to look at?
No, not really. But I did ask you one time about one of my sisters, who's also Aquarius, but her birth date is February 8th. And yesterday we had a slight disagreement, and I was wondering, if you could explain the difference between my sign and hers again.
February 8th, what year?
1940.
1940. Right now with the sun in Leo, there is a little bit of difficulty with the sign of Aquarius because you're having to, it's the opposite. The sun in Leo is the opposite of the sun in Aquarius. And they say in astrology that you always want to realize your opposite. So what both you and your sister are experiencing right now is having to get along with the opposition within yourself. Let me just look quickly at your sister, February 8th. She was born with both the sun and moon in Aquarius, so, and Mercury in Aquarius. She's really wanting to change. There's like a big thrust in her life of wanting to move on to the next place. And
Yeah.
she might be having a little bit of difficulty in making that happen and taking it out on you.
Well, she is planning on moving to New Mexico.
Oh, well, I think that will be good. And if you'd like to call back next week, we could talk about it a little more, but I have to get on to the next caller. I'd love to talk to you more, though.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Okay,
calling.
thank you, Susan, and thank you for the information. It's always nice to hear people when they have this bit of information. She must have had a great trip, though.